So the class is being recorded as usual. We should have started, of course, at 2, but I had a meeting, a very important one. That's why we have kind of delayed it for an hour. And I'm hopeful that this is not very inconvenient for some of you. I know you guys are busy, perhaps, and doing other stuff. So we're doing Tom's Midnight Garden, and hopefully we can end, but it never ends actually. The discussion, this is perhaps because it's a lovely piece of work. I mean, discussion never ends because, I mean, the more you think about it, the more ideas you come out with. And this is what we've been doing. I mean, generating ideas, lovely ideas. You guys bring to the conversation very lovely insights, and I thank you for them. And I also congratulate you on them, mashallah. So you're doing an excellent job. And I mean, the midterm has demonstrated just that. I mean, your marks, mashallah, for the most part, are very encouraging and very nice. So again, what did we say and where did we stop? Obviously, it never ends and it never stops. So those who haven't finished, I mean, yesterday we were talking about those who were kind of halfway through, and perhaps by now they are almost done. And those who haven't done anything, perhaps they got encouraged by what we said, and they perhaps went out of their ways and tried to read and research about Tom's Midnight Garden. And I keep saying that people shouldn't be um, looking at secondary sources unless and until they have read the original source, I mean the primary source, which most of us do. But if you are kind of sometimes you're hard pressed against time. In this case, yeah, we would allow people to know a thing or two about the work, not through or by reading it, because that would be a physical impossibility given how tight their time may be, but at least they do something. So how much do we know? I think I shared something with you about the power of the imagination and how this kind of features very prominently in the novel, as we have seen yesterday. So did you go there? Did you check what I sent?
Yes, the YouTube short.
Yes,
Yeah.
doctor.
So it was short and sweet, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah, nice. It's AI, by the way. All what you need to do is to kind of put the script, and it comes out with lovely documentary or lovely images and scenes. And so AI is not all bad news, as you can see. You can use it uh, not to do the work for you, but you can give it prompts and it can come up with very nice presentations and stuff. So how much do we know about the other? I'm sorry, it has been a long day so far, and I'm sure you appreciate them. And so, well, what what do you want to tell me about the other Tom's Midnight Garden? Something that perhaps you thought about after we finished. You did some reflection and you came up with some perhaps new ideas. You established new connections and relationships between and among the characters and the events. So, who would like to tell us more about Tom's Midnight Garden, new insights? I mean, they don't have to be new. I mean, they can be another way of putting stuff. Um, oh, hmm, no one? Nothing? Tom's Midnight Garden?
May I, Doctor?
Yeah, Zahra, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I like the connection between the reality and fantasy, where they mentioned Einstein relativity theory about time, and when Tom was discussing the concept of time with his uncle and aunt, I
Hmm.
like that connection. This way, we can question and think about time, and we can feel the
But
reality part of the novel.
but did they agree on? I mean, obviously they have divergent viewpoints
No,
when it comes to
yeah,
yeah.
of course they didn't. But
Mm,
when we come to the theory itself, the theory is
mm,
abroad, and it actually suggests or actually proves that different area have different timings. For example, if we travel to the space, there's different timing than the Earth. Time move faster there. So I like
mm.
that connection.
Are you scientifically minded, yeah, Zahra? Or were
Kind
you
of.
in the
Kind of
science
interested,
section?
yeah, yeah. I've actually studied engineering for like a year. So maybe
Wallah,
that's why.
mashallah.
Yeah.
And what brought you here?
I love English. Actually,
Mm-mm.
I was in the US, I did engineering for like almost a year and a half. But then English is my passion, so I cut that and came here back.
أهلا بيك يا أهلا بيك. احنا we're lucky to have you with us, mashallah.
Me
Mm,
too, doctor. I'm lucky to have you.
mm, mm. So again, so the idea that yani seemingly they are a good family and they are discussing things together, but when you come to think about it, you see that they are also different. Um, Obviously, typical of the young generation, Tom has his own weird ideas and theories about things. Typical of young souls, very free, like you guys. But I mean, obviously, this is going to be met with a wall of perhaps the traditionalism and conservatism, and this is represented by the uncle and the aunt. They are not going to agree, and and he will not be convinced with what they say. So it's this generational uh, um, space or gap that we're talking about. So they couldn't accommodate him, and that is a good enough reason for him to go and look for validation and appreciation somewhere else, which is obviously the garden. And then we have this idea that it is magical. So, what does what does this tell us about the novel? It tells us that there was actually a need for the garden. There is a need for this kind of magic. So it wasn't there as a supplementary kind of thing. No. So it is at the core of the novel, and it's not something unnecessary because it's, I mean, we have obviously a closed door, like they say, but you see that a window is open somewhere else. So, in the technical sense, the novel is good, is very good in that. The idea that it is well written, and this is what lots of scholars have said, that it is uh, a very well written piece of work. It's because of this, kind of logic that the writer has put into it. So addressing it doesn't only address or appeal to our different senses. It also addresses our power of reason. It is true that it is soaked in the imagination, but for good reasons, like we have said. Okay, so thank you, Zahra. Can we have somebody else reflecting on what is happening? So let me ask you this recurring question, the question that I always ask after when we start a new, obviously it's not a new novel anymore. If you have a favorite of all the four, which one is your favorite? Which one of the four? I mean, we have taken two picture books and two novels so far, right? So if you have to choose one as a favorite, if you have to vote for one, which one is your favorite? Yeah, Mariam, go ahead.
I personally would choose The Other Side of Truth because I think it opens the eyes of the children to numerous issues and numerous like sides of the world that they haven't experienced themselves. So I think it's both beneficial and entertaining at the same time.
The
It's
idea, the
it's
idea of
instruct and yeah,
cultural literacy.
yes, exactly.
So
And
you read the
how
novel and you get literate about what happens around the world. You
yes,
don't
and how
restrict or limit. Yeah.
not all
Yes.
childhoods are like the same, and they're not all so beautiful and so uh, full of happiness.
Yes.
That's why I chose The Other Side of the Truth. But all four were amazing. I really enjoyed
كلهم
all. Yeah.
كلهم أولاد. You're trying
Yes.
to say that كلهم أولاد.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. In some
Okay.
way. Yeah. I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
the four of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariam. Anybody else? Or everybody else, rather? So we're voting here over, we have four different pieces of work and we're ranking them in terms of interest. I wouldn't say important because all of them are important, obviously. So come to the mic and share with us.
I actually prefer The Other Side of Truth. I'm not.
Button.
I don't like fantasy. That's just me personally. This one is a hard read for me. It's to get through
I
it.
mean, you're
I like
so
thrillers.
realistic. You're so your
I
point of
do. I
departure.
like
I mean,
thrillers.
yeah, you don't
I
have room
do.
for fantasy at all, ya Fatma.
Not in a book. In a movie, I can do it. In
Mm.
a book, I love thrillers. This is
You
the
know,
kind of fiction I
this
read.
can be dangerous for your kids. I understand you have a kid or two, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no.
So, yeah,
How so? One
reassure me,
second.
please. Reassure me. Tell me that you're doing a good job with them in terms of setting their imagination free and everything. So,
I'm so
Shimi,
sorry. I didn't hear what you said.
no, no, go back to the recording and then answer us next time. So you're not for Tom's Midnight Garden, right? You're,
I personally
uh,
like thrillers. That one,
mm,
the other side of truth was from the beginning, it
mm,
captivated me. The
mm,
plot it kept making me read. It was a page turner for me, and those are the kind of books that I gravitate towards.
nice.
Um, yeah,
I mean, do you identify with any of the character? You find them relatable, for example?
from the other side of truth or from any
Ah,
character.
yes, yes, yes. And I'm talking about the other side of truth.
Um, kind of towards a little bit towards the father and the daughter because
Mm-hmm,
I kind of understand what he's trying to do,
mm-hmm,
and more to the daughter as well because she's navigating through something. I kind of feel for her as well. I think you've mentioned this before. You're not from this country, but you live in this country, but you don't feel like this is home. So that's also another relatable
mm,
feeling with
Yeah. And remember when we also spoke about the other side of truth, we said that it's very hard on parents. I mean, good parenting is obviously a myth. I mean, everyone has his own style, and you cannot have this kind of what do they call it? Um, يعني a set of specific standards that you can apply to all and every case. So the idea of truth, for example, when to tell the truth and when to withhold it, and what to teach your kids and what not. This is a little bit tricky, right? Yeah, Fatima?
It is a tricky thing, and with these days now, it's just harder on what to expose, what not to expose your child to, and when to expose it to them. So it's
Yeah.
a battle. It is everyday battle.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Thank you, Fatima, so much. More on the voting that we have started a couple of minutes ago. Bara?
Sir, actually, me too. I'm in love with the side of truth by Aido. As someone who is really interested in politics, always talking about politics, of course, it was my favorite. I mean, through Relentless Vivid storytelling, as a reader, we can transport it into their hearts and minds at the same time. The characters who struggle with fear, anger, and despair. But also, we find, some moments we can say of love, solidarity. So I really like it. And the novel is not only shades light into the harsh realities of politics, oppression, but also celebrates the mental spirit of those who dare to fight for justice and freedom.
Mm.
So it was just amazing.
Yeah. Again, it's this idea of relatability, the fact that the novel is very relatable, especially for us people from the Middle East, people from
Exactly, yeah.
the third world, quote unquote, of course. Um, that's why we said it's at one point it is referred to as a post-colonial musing on the idea of Britain, the high and mighty, um, and the Great Britain, where everything is green over there. This is perhaps the place to be when it comes to liberties and feeling safe, and obviously this would all crumble when you get to know how the system works over there. So perhaps this is a statement against all of that.
Yeah,
Those
especially,
falsehoods and misinformation about how great Great Britain is. So,
yes, exactly. Especially when you talk
mm,
with people who are brainwashed about the West in general, where we are
mm,
Arabs, we have the culture, we have the identity. So it's just different. It is different because the West is different. The West is wild.
yeah, that's a Wild West race. So, and let me just make it clear that I'm not saying that we are the best. Obviously, we have issues and problems, and we have so many
For
of them.
sure, yeah, for sure.
But they are equally, I don't know, bad.
But they always want
As,
to make us the minority as Arabs.
um,
They are sometimes trying to, you know, spread some stereotypes through their novels or something. Then, some writers popped up and exposed everything or
yeah,
the
so
other
it's,
side of truth.
so yes, so obviously Naidu is trying to challenge, um, you know, um, you know, biases, like I said, um, math about what the West is and what the non-West is. Remember, look at the girl and the kind of education that she made out, that she received, and how different she was. She was even better than her peers in the English school that she was in. They were white, and again, according to popular myths, they should know better and know more. Obviously, she was better than them, just to remember. They couldn't even locate and know where Africa. I remember there was this confusion between I don't know whether I'm inventing this, making it up. Did they ever confuse Africa for a country? I don't remember because I'm confusing novels now. But what I'm trying to say is that they are very ignorant. So, in spite of their whiteness and their uh, supremacy and all those kinds of claims and falsehoods, they know very little about the outside, and this is perhaps was high on the agenda of Naidu. She wanted to educate her readers. She wanted her white readers. She wanted to tell them that there is more to life than just England. There is more to life than just your immediate surroundings and context. Uh, Diala wanted to say something.
Yes, doctor. Maybe I will go with Tom's Midnight Garden. The time in the story just plays a huge role. How is the past and the present just unite together to form for me a beautiful world of innocence? Um, it just the most important thing, or what it just attracted me as a reader, like when the two hearts are suffering from loneliness and they just met together and live in a beautiful garden, colorful world. They did not feel about the time, how it passed, nor the physical or climate change or anything. They were just living in the moment, that they just enjoying in the time inside the dream together. It's just like a whole picture, like when you meet your soulmate, like your wife or your, inshallah, next husband. So I don't know, maybe I'm just attracted to this novel, that it just give me a full image of my life when I'm be with my husband. I believe that we are from two different worlds, from two different cultures, but we met in a point. So
You're very romantic, mashallah, Diala.
thank you, Doctor. but, but I
Uh,
believe
yeah,
that I
that's
didn't.
interesting. That's interesting because I was if you didn't say husband and I wanted to tell you that perhaps this can be kind of uh, running away, escaping from something. But if it's going to invigorate you, if it's going to kind of push you perhaps beyond your limits, and it can make you somebody different in a positive sense, more empowered perhaps, more forward looking. That's the kind of thing that we need. But to stay in the past, and this is something that perhaps the writer was very careful about, the fact that Tom didn't start and end in the past. The past can be a diversion. It can some kind of exertion or some kind of a metaphorical trip. You go there in order to perhaps learn a lesson or two, become mature, and then come back to reality and try to face up to the challenges ahead. Right?
Yes, Doctor.
So yeah, so this is very important. The idea that um, in its entirety, the novel is not escapist. Even though we keep referring to what Tom used to do as escapades or escapades, or I don't know how they pronounce it. It's no, it's not really some kind of escape because again, remember that he didn't choose to kind of had his uncle and aunts, had they been more accommodating and more tolerant of his views and ideas, had they had their own kids and he could have played with them, he couldn't have thought of this uh, idea of the garden. So the garden, like I said, like I keep saying, is uh, there for a reason. So it's not imposed or superimposed on the novel. No, there is a dramatic necessity for it. So again, it's Tom's Midnight Garden, where the focus is on human connection and also establishing human connection. The novel is also about the imagination and the power of the imagination, and how far people can go with their imagination, and how transformative the imagination can be, and how enabling it can enable us. It might not be very realistic, but because you don't stay there, because it gets you inspired, and this is how far it can get. But you come back to reality with the lessons that you learned through the imagination, and you become a reformed individual. You become a different person, renewed. Your perspectives are now different. Your outlook on life is different. And this is what we have seen with Tom towards the end of the novel. Um, what else did we say about the novel? Um, we said that the novel, um, in terms of form, in terms of genre, um, it is, yeah, a typical children's book where you have to suspend your disbelief because there is this measure of fantasy to it. But again, to say that it is purely for children would be quite um, wouldn't be very accurate, because uh, as adults and as adult readers, we stand to learn a lot from the insights, from the trials and tribulations that Tom has gone through. I raised the issue or the question of this role reversal yesterday, and I didn't find enough support and backing. The idea that, well, why this insistence that the boy is the one who goes through the experiences, the boy is the one who is meant to learn this lesson on that, and the girl here, whether she's old or young, is meant as perhaps um, I don't know, a tool, or perhaps a device, a technical or a dramatic device that is meant to help him achieve this kind of epiphany, help him achieve this kind of awareness. Um, and we spoke about what what if the the roles are reversed and we have Hattie um, as the protagonist, and Tom as the playmate. Um what else did we say? Let me see. We have other issues. I think I told you yesterday um, that I have an article, a very interesting one, about the perhaps the history of children's literature and where the focus is always, and also those stereotypical attitudes towards novels, where we know from the very start, before we read the novel, that the boy is going to do this while the girl is assigned or is supposed to do that. Again, one of the issues that we spoke about yesterday was whether um, the different generations that we have in the novel get uh, on well with each other or not. And of course, the short answer would be no, uh, given the encounters between Tom and his uncle and aunt, and the differences that they had, which prompted him to seek comfort and to seek solace and to seek shelter and companionship somewhere else. Hence the garden, hence the magical garden, hence going all the way back to the past with its magic, and the past is magical for some of us. Um, and that would also bring us to the idea of the choice of the past. Obviously, it's not just another past. I mean, we're talking about a specific kind of past, which is the Victorian age. And um, we tend to agree with some scholars when they say that presenting or going back to the Victorian age for solace, for comfort, is perhaps meant to glorify the Victorian age. And the question is, has it ever been that glorious? Has it ever been that noble? I mean, I'm talking about the Victorian age, and I'm talking to people who studied the Victorian age. You did The Sign of Four, you did Wuthering Heights. Some of you may have done Dickens, not here, for example, somewhere else. So, was it all honey and milk in the Victorian age? Was it a life of privilege for everyone? Um, didn't they have people who are poor or semi-poor, if you like? What do you think of the Victorian age as students of English literature who have gone through the different ages? And from what you have taken in the different courses. Remember, you said that you did the Victorian age. Yeah, Fatima. Yeah.
I think that's when like the British Empire expanded globally.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think the conditions were the same for all. You did have different there was the poor, they were poor, and then there were the working conditions. Excuse me, the working conditions. I don't think they were
If you
safe.
ask any British individual, he would say that I'm so proud of the British Empire and what it did for us, and
Yeah,
we
what it
are
did for their name, but
Britain,
I don't
Great
think the
Britain.
working.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
for the normal person, the average person, I don't think it did well. I don't think their
mhm.
working or living conditions were something they
So
would be proud of.
so Fatma, you wouldn't agree that if I tell you that the author presented uh, or went back to the Victorian age because she thought that it's the best of all possible times and periods. You wouldn't agree because, as a student of English literature, you know what used to happen in the Victorian age. Remember the so many
Yes.
poems that we have taken by the Romantics. The Romantics may not be very Victorian because then perhaps they came before the time of Queen Victoria, but it's the same age, almost the same age. Remember when they used to talk about the chimney sweepers? They used to speak about how the Industrial Revolution reduced people to poverty. Um,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So it's like I said, choosing the Victorian age has this big question mark. Um,
Do we know why she chose that era?
she was not, I think, interviewed. Perhaps she was interviewed, but she was perhaps never asked this question. Why, of all uh, the times available, she chose the Victorian age. So it's only speculation that we're making. Um, Again, um, I don't know. Perhaps if she is, of course, the daughter of the time during and after the Second World War, and perhaps if you compared the World War II and World War One times, these were very difficult times for the English. I mean, Hitler, especially in the Second World War, had it not been for some strange happenings, I mean, the British could have been speaking German like the French, but it so happened that this guy had those miscalculations. I'm not against them, but I'm just saying that it's all historical accidents. So what I'm trying to say is that perhaps for the writer, the Victorian age, which is obviously the closest time to the First and the Second World War, was much better because there was no, I mean, world wars at the time, and this was what they called the long uh, 19th century, and most um, of the historians refer to this time as being the time of stability, the time of wealth, of course, from their own perspective as English. And again, they find or they take pride in expanding beyond their borders and going all the way to India and to other places. So this is a question that we should ask. Why, of all the time periods, the writer, what's her name? Philippa Pierce, I think, why she chose the Victorian age. Um, there is also a great deal of talk about the nurturing nature of Hattie. You would uh, look at Hattie as perhaps a mother figure, as she's the one who obviously helps Tom grow. They may be similar in age, they may be sharing the same age group, but she's the one who is obviously introducing him to the past and different things in the past, her family, and then he gets to know about the different, um, you know, hardships that she went through, losing parents and losing kids and everything. So you would think of the character of Hattie as what? The what as the one responsible for this kind of growth. Um Had it not been for her, he wouldn't have grown. Had it not been for her, he wouldn't have matured. He wouldn't have learned those very important lessons about life, about the linearity of life, and the fact that it's always linear with whatever comes with linearity. I mean, growing old, at one point being no more, and so it's all because of Hattie, and it's all due to Hattie and her presence in the novel. So Hattie provided um, Tom with opportunities that he wouldn't have otherwise had. So again, the character of Hattie is very pivotal, is very important, even if we perceive her as a mere device or tool. Again, because the focus is on what Tom gains from this kind of relationship. So you would ask, what did she gain? Obviously, if you compare what she gained to what he gains, obviously he gained more. Because again, towards the end, it's the focus is on him and what he learned and how he matured. Nobody spoke about her. We now know that she is an old lady and she's not what or who we thought she is. So we're left thinking about that, uh, and at the same time focusing on what Tom has gained. And obviously, what he gained, according to the writer, is a lot. Um, Remember what we said also about this uh, idea that some people, um, perhaps like Fatma, for them, reason and reality takes precedence over the imagination and dreams, and this has been proven perhaps untrue or not very uh, not very well, not very accurate. I mean, the idea that you need to have this balance between reality and non-reality, sometimes fantasy, dreams. You cannot. Um, I heard that. I mean, I was driving this morning and I had this, um, audiobook playing, and it was one of those things that can bring well-being would be the idea that you need to love and welcome dreams because they provide needed solace. And I'm talking about dreams, not nightmares, of course. So, um, and obviously, the world of fantasy is very connected and linked to the idea of dreams because in dreams, you do stuff that you wouldn't do in reality. You become rich, perhaps. You get married to the one that you love because sometimes you cannot do that. You do stuff, you travel far and wide. So people need that from people need this kind of diversion from time to time. And this is what the novel is stressing, the fact that you cannot live all the time in reality and be set with frustrations here and there every now and then. You need some kind of diversion. And this is what dreams bring. And this is what the world of fantasy bring. And this is what literature brings. Literature is about also setting your imagination free. This is what the cinema does, right? Sometimes you see movies where people go to places you never frequent, or go to. It's about fantastic events that you would love to be part of. Uh, can I take this? Wait. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Uh,
Dr.
Yes.
Clear.
okay, nice, ممتاز. So, yeah, Diala, you're raising your
Yes,
hand. Go
Doctor.
ahead. Yes.
I'm sorry, but I have to leave because I have another lecture with Dr. Muhsan,
No,
part one.
طيب أنا آسف، معلش أنا
No,
آسف.
no,
في
I'm
حد
sorry.
نعم،
Yeah.
في حد تاني عنده برضو. ما دخلنا على الخط فبوظنا، مش عاوزين نبوظ لحد حاجة. في حد تاني عنده EA300A. Do you guys have EA300A من اللي واخد ال two courses؟ طيب ما فيش مشكلة. So it's only Diala. طيب ماشي. اوكي.
Um,
فاين يا ديال، يلا اتفضلي، بالتوفيق ان
thank you,
شاء
but
الله.
you will,
You are.
شكرا, but you will announce inshallah about the revision classes, right?
ايوه طبعا طبعا.
Okay,
will
شكرا.
tell you ان شاء الله. نعم. طيب. okay, let's move on. I saw a very interesting statement, and I would like us to talk about it when it comes to also Tom's Midnight Garden. It's also about this um, idea of the real world, and how it clashes with the world of the imagination. And it says that the fantastic consists in what is denied and desired in the real world. So the fantastic, let me put it in the chat, and I would like you to reflect on it and tell me what your thoughts are on it. And it says, the fantastic consists in what is denied and desired in the real world. If you have a question like this one, and I would like you to think and reflect, what do you think the critic who said this means, if he or she means anything at all? So I'm ready to listen to what you have to say about this. The fantastic. fantasy, not the wish, consists in what is denied and desired in the real world. It's very simple, but perhaps it needs illustrations from the novel. Mm.
I'm sorry, do you mean that the writer, um, for, for instance, the author of Tom's Midnight Garden, is trying to achieve something through fantasy that she couldn't achieve in the real world, or just the characters themselves?
It can start from the novel, but it can go beyond the novel. It can be about human beings. It can again, you like I said, it can be about what happens in a novel, but obviously it doesn't end there. So we're denied things in reality in life, and we desire them so much. And if we cannot secure them in our life, we tend to go and check where we can find them, and that would take us to the world of dreams and fantasy. What do you think?
Yeah, I personally think that's true. I can
Mm.
reflect on my childhood, for instance. I remember dreaming about all of those things that I couldn't acquire when I was little.
Mhm.
I used to dream about like being a superhero and being having living in an isolated island with a bunch of my friends and stuff like that. And I do believe that the things that I could not have when I was little, I used to dream about them, and it was my favorite part of the day to dream about those things that I couldn't had or couldn't have.
Yeah, that's nice. Anybody else? I mean, perhaps having the same experience like Mariam. Sometimes,
Yeah, I think we've all had that
mm,
daydreaming where
mm,
you wish you have what you don't, or be
um,
where you're not, or the
um,
opposite.
it,
Yeah.
so the idea is that it's not that you're a dreamer by nature. Sometimes you're pushed to daydream, right? Because you're denied things in reality,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're denying things
Mm,
in reality, so you're imagining another reality for yourself,
mm,
things that you don't have or wish you had.
yes. Um, who else would like to comment on that? Yeah, that's very self-evident. I mean, all you need would be to provide examples from the novel, and the examples are very repetitive. Um, what Tom was denied, he was obviously denied companionship. What did he desire? He desired companionship. He wanted somebody to talk to. He wanted somebody to play with. So if I don't find it in reality, I go and look for him or her somewhere else. But go ahead.
I love the quote, to be honest, and let me just make a connection between the quote and our novel.
Yeah.
Maybe the magical garden represents something denied in the real world, like the ability to travel through time and experience new things or different eras. So Tom desired to escape his ordinary life, and the garden fulfills this longing by allowing him to explore maybe history and to create connections that transcend his present reality. So maybe it would be a good connection between the quote and our novel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point that you're making, yeah, but okay. Um, I don't know. I don't want to finish everything today about Tom's because I mean, the more I read, the more material that I go through, that the more insights that come. I intend to have you this week for perhaps another class, and it's going to be both. We're going to talk more about Tom's Midnight Garden, and we're going to start the revision classes. Uh, just remind me of the final exam date. When is the final exam?
It
July
will
the
be on
20th.
20th.
July the 20th. We still have like 10 more days, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you think I'm giving you the option of either scheduling an extra class, not an extra class, then we're going to start in the revision either this week or we wait until Sunday and we take Sunday and Monday. No, 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 not Sunday. That's Monday and Tuesday, right? What do you think? Should we take, because I think Monday is very far away. What do you think? Should we take an extra class this week? Perhaps shouldn't exceed an hour.
That's fine. That's an
Yeah, for
idea.
sure. Why not?
Okay. طيب. Um, so when do you think? So Aya is saying she's, yeah, because it's today is Tuesday. I mean, so the only day left. I mean, Wednesday, and Wednesday would be too close. So we're going to keep it to Thursday. When do you think is convenient on Thursday?
Doctor, don't you think maybe Monday is better so we can have a little time to revise and prepare our questions, maybe?
Well, it's up to you. You guys decide. So if we have 10 people agreeing on Monday, so we're going to keep it to Monday. So if you're with Monday, raise your hands. Let me have 10 people. Okay. So it's Monday. So in the meantime, I would like you to read as much as you can. If you would like to write things and show them to me, that's fine too. And I'll try to also come up with scripts that I can put to AI and we can generate interesting videos like the one that I have shared today. I think I also have a couple of recordings from the last semester, and they were also nice. I'll share that with you. Um, this is all I have for you today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you inshallah on Monday and Tuesday, of course. Do you have any questions for me before we call it a night?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Zahra.
I
I
asked
think
for
yeah,
feedback, please.
yeah, you sent
Yeah.
me, and I was when I left you, I had another class, and that's why
Yeah, it's
uh,
totally okay. Yeah.
I'll do it. If I cannot do it today, I'll do it tomorrow, inshallah, ya Zahra.
Inshallah, I'll be waiting. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, Allah
Well,
class.
Allah yakrim. Hmm. Any other demands? Like,
No, thank you,
we
doctor.
okay.
Thank
So
you.
on this note and with this item, we'll come to the end of this class, and I'll see you inshallah on Monday. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Bye bye.